Good afternoon, everyone. It's Zilla, and welcome back to the channel. And today we're talking about Tropical Storm Laura and possibly Tropical Storm Marco that could be happening this evening. Before I do get started with the video, I do ask you do hit that red subscribe button down below and hit that like button. Let's see if we can get this video to 5 likes. And I want to know, how intense do you think these tropical storms could become? So here is the National Hurricane Center's kind of map of where everything is. So you can see here's Tropical Storm Laura, here's Tropical Depression 14, and then here's that new wave coming off of Africa. And there are more waves coming off of Africa at this time. But today we're going to start off with Tropical Depression 14. We're going to talk about its key kind of its advisory. So number one on the advisory is heavy rainfall and gusty winds over portions of the coast of Nicaragua and Honduras, including the Bay Islands, are expected to diminish today. Tropical Depression 14 is expected to strengthen over the northwestern Caribbean Sea over Saturday and is expected to be near or at hurricane strength when it reaches the east coast of the Yucatan Peninsula or Mexico late Saturday. A hurricane watch and tropical storm warnings are in effect for portions of that region. The system is expected to move into the south-central Gulf of Mexico as a tropical storm on Sunday. Some strengthening is anticipated while it moves northwestern over the central Gulf of Mexico early next week. But it is too soon to know exactly how strong it will get or the location and magnitude of impacts it will produce along the central or northwestern Gulf Coast. Interests in that area should continue to monitor this progress for the system over the next few days. So, kind of recapping, winds are very possible. We do have hurricane watches and thunder tropical storm warnings as well. If you're on the Yucatan Peninsula, you need to be preparing for very strong tropical storm force winds. And then here we're going to get into this tropical storm force winds probabilities. So you can see its highest chances of it becoming are right here in the 70 to 80% chance, but it does have a very consistent line of around the 60 to 70 all through here. And then over here, why it's such a big blob is because there's another tropical storm that we'll be getting into later. Here are the arrival times of these winds. You can see on the Yucatan Peninsula, you can receive these winds Saturday around 8 a.m. and then it will pass that day around Saturday 8 p.m. and then go out towards sea, and then it will be hitting parts of Mexico, Texas, Louisiana, and parts of Mississippi at around Monday at 8 a.m. and then fully onto the U.S. coast around Tuesday in the early morning hours. So here is the cone that they have provided. You can see hurricane watches right here, and then right there, and then you can see we do have tropical storm watches kind of along here, and then we does have it becoming a hurricane right here in the middle of the Gulf, and then it falling kind of apart as it becomes a tropical storm once it makes landfall on the U.S. So it's still tropical depression, so there isn't any tropical storm force winds picked up. It's just kind of a closer view of what the NHC is predicting. So you can see we do have those hurricane watches and those tropical storm warnings right off the coast of the Yucatan Peninsula, and right behind them we do have tropical storm watches. So if you are in this area, you need to be taking proper precautions to help prepare for possibly hurricanes. So here is kind of a track guidance. So most of the models are very consistent now, as it was from yesterday. They're very consistent of it kind of going through the Yucatan Peninsula and then going straight into Texas. I'll show you guys my forecast here in a little bit, but the models, they're very consistent today. They're not kind of where they were yesterday, where they're kind of splitting off in a whole different directions, right, middle, and then kind of some turning out towards the left. So at least it's more consistent. We do have a area that is very consistent of where this could possibly go. Here is the intensity guidance. You can see most of these models do have it staying at a tropical storm. A couple models do have it reaching a very weak Category 1 hurricane. One model doesn't have it going all the way up to almost a Category 2. I don't think that's going to happen at all, but most of the models, again, are very consistent with it being a tropical storm. The SHIP model has it becoming a tropical storm with about 50-knot winds. Here's some satellite imagery, so you can see lots of convection on the back half of this storm, and then a little bit trying to form a little bit up here, but these are very consistent with at around, my guess, around negative 80 on the cloud tops. So convection is thunderstorms within these disturbances out in the Atlantic or in the Caribbean. And then here is the water vapor. You can see right here, here is where that back end was, right in here. And then we do have some areas trying to form kind of up here a little bit. We'll have to keep our eyes on that. Now here's my forecast. I have it becoming a very weak Category 1 hurricane. You can see here on the right of your screen, you can see what the winds are and what the millibars could be. But as it does reach the Yucatan Peninsula, I do have it becoming a very weak tropical storm with 39 to 44 mile per hour winds, and then as well with kind of once it passes over around 46 to 50, and then having it kind of strengthen back out into a Category 1 hurricane at landfall with around 74 to 76 mile per hour winds. So now here are the possible impacts. So red is the hurricane conditions are possible, yellow is tropical storm, and light green are tropical depressions. So right here, I do, along the Honduras, I do have it just at a tropical depression condition just because it is a tropical depression now. Then once it does reach the Yucatan Peninsula, this is where I have it becoming kind of a tropical storm conditions, where it will be. And then here along the Texas and Louisiana, I do have conditions possible with hurricanes, very strong winds, rain, stuff like that. So here is the current stats for Tropical Depression 14. Its current pressure is at 1,008 millibars, and it has been very, very consistent with that over the past couple days. Its max sustained winds, remember, these winds need to be withheld for at least 1 minute at 30 knots or at 35 miles per hour is what they're at currently. Its current location on the latitude and longitude scale is at 17.7 north, 84.3 west, and its current movement, it is moving northwest at 11 knots or at 13 miles per hour. So now we're going to switch kind of over Tropical Storm Laura. This was the newest tropical storm that they did prove out. So here we're going to look at this 11 o'clock advisory. Tropical storm conditions are expected across portions of the northern Leeward Islands, the Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico today throughout Saturday, and tropical storm warnings are in effect. Heavy rainfall is likely across this area beginning today and could cause mudslides and flash and urban flooding through Sunday. So, as I said yesterday in yesterday's advisory, heavy rains, mudslides, and urban flooding, so you need to be taking those precautions. Tropical storm conditions are possible along the northern coast of the Dominican Republic and Haiti, and the southeastern Bahamas and the Turks and I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, islands, Saturday and Sunday, and tropical storm watches are in effect. And then the last one says the details of the long track range and intensity forecast remain more uncertain than usual since Laura is forecast to move near or over portions of the Great Antilles through Monday. However, Laura could bring storm surge, rainfall, and wind impacts to portions of Cuba, the Bahamas, and Florida early next week, and the northeast U.S. Gulf Coast by the middle of next week. Interest there should monitor the progress of Laura and updates to the forecast over the next few days. So as I was stating, with Tropical Depression 14, need to be, if you are in this area, you do need to be monitoring this. You definitely don't want to underestimate this. And here we have the cone. You can see it will become a hurricane right as it passes Florida. And then I will show you guys there's this satellite image from Tropical Tidbits that's very interesting that we need to be keeping our eyes on. But we do have tropical storm warnings across Puerto Rico, northern Leeward Islands, and tropical storm watches along Haiti and possibly Cuba here in the next couple days or day. Alright, so here we have the tropical storm force winds, so don't worry about this. This is where Tropical Depression 14 is. But here we have 90% chance of it becoming a tropical storm force winds, which is where it's at right now. And then if you're in Puerto Rico, it does have it becoming around 50 to 60% chance, and then have it kind of regaining its strength possibly over the Gulf. And the whole reason why these storms are going to intensify rapidly is due to these warm waters. These waters have been warm for a while, and nothing's kind of come in and cooled them off yet. And that's what these storms are made for, to cool off the waters of the Atlantic and the Caribbean. Here is the current arrival time of tropical storm force winds. So you can see the Leeward Islands, you'll be receiving those winds probably around right now. Puerto Rico, Saturday at 2 a.m., Dominican Republic, earliest Saturday at 8 a.m., and then parts of Cuba, Sunday at 8 a.m., and then Florida possibly Monday around 8 a.m., and then Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and the northern tip of Florida at around Tuesday at 8 a.m. Here's the sea surface wind fields. So it did regain tropical storm status. So there are watches along this area when they're very well could be. These could get improved, but you can see here's the current wind field that they're looking at in orange right here. And then that's why there's warnings out right now, because these Leeward Islands are probably going to get hit by these if they're not already. Puerto Rico is also in the area that could be hit as well. And here we're going to be looking at the model guidances. So most of these models are very consistent with it kind of going on a straight path, hitting the Dominican Republic, parts of Cuba. Now the CMI has it turning right. Most of these models have it keeping going straight and possibly hitting New Orleans. And that's something that very well could happen, but it's still a couple days out, so we need to let it kind of get closer to see what's going to happen and how we can be as accurate as possible. Here are the intensity guidances. So the HWFI model has it becoming a Category 4 hurricane. Most of the models have it sitting at around a Category 1. Some models not even reaching a Category 1 hurricane. I'll show you guys my forecast here in a little bit. And here's some satellite imagery. You can see convection really starting to kind of fire off right in this little area right here. And it looks like we do have some banding kind of going on kind of out here. And then here is the water vapors. You can see very easy. You can see where this water vapor is really kind of starting to fire off a little bit, starting to form out here. And then we're going to, now this is what I want you to see. So this is a kind of a guidance. So the L is the area of low pressure. Look at that eye it provides. Very strong low pressure at around 920. Just look at it. You can clearly see that eye really starting to form right in here. So you just want to keep your eye on the L. I thought this was important to show just because of how significant this could be getting. And this is what that H, and this was the model, or that's saying it could become a Category 4 hurricane. And here is kind of the wind guidance. You can see very detectable winds, very easy eyeball to see winds at around 80 knots. I'll also let it play out for you guys so you can see the whole thing. So there it's passing Cuba right now, and then there's the Florida tip right there, and then you can see it does intensify rapidly with low pressure all the way down to 923 at its peak, and it could possibly be a hurricane as it hits the coast. Now here's my forecast. I do have it becoming a Category 1 hurricane kind of off the coast of Florida, and then once it does reach land, I do have it falling down to a very strong tropical storm. But once it, right now it's currently at 46 miles per hour, and then once it does kind of reach Puerto Rico, around 50 to 55 mile per hour winds. Right as it kind of starts to hit Cuba, 60 to 68 mile per hour winds, then reaching hurricane status. Right as it's on the southern tip of Florida, around the Miami area, 74 to 78 miles per hour, and then at its peak, around 81 to 85, kind of off the western coast. So here are the possible impacts. So I do have a couple areas of tropical storm force winds or probabilities. Right along here, the Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic area. And then up here, just because if it does kind of turn right, as some of these models were saying, there could very easily be some up there. But I do have the western coast, just with hurricane conditions are possible, just due to the fact that there could be some very strong winds. You could receive some very heavy rain. And then here are the current stats on Tropical Storm Laura. Its current pressure is at 1,007 millibars. It's been very consistent, kind of like Tropical Depression 14. Its max sustained winds are at 40 knots or at 45 miles per hour. Current location at 17.1 north, 61.2 west on the latitude and longitude scale, and then its current movement is moving west at 15 knots or at 17 miles per hour. So here is the wind shear, an updated wind shear picture from yesterday. You can see lots of wind shear right in here. Not much for the not much for the tropical storm. That's kind of sitting right here. You can see there's hardly any wind shear, which is a bad thing because wind shear destroys these storms. So it's gonna intensify. It could intensify very quickly. And then here on the atmospheric moisture, you can see blue areas starting to form right behind it in an area right here that we need to be keeping our eye on. A very moist area that could help this storm kind of intensify. But here's that area again. It's very dry air over Puerto Rico. But other than that, the Gulf is very moist. It's very favorable for these storms to intensify. And then how active is the Atlantic right now? I have it extremely active. Just because we could have two possible tropical storms later today. We already have one now, and then both these storms possibly turning into hurricanes, and then we do have that wave coming off of Africa as well. That's going to do it for the video, guys. I hope that you do enjoy. Make sure to hit that red subscribe button down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.